Testing. 1, 2, 3. Microphone check. Hello. Welcome to the Black Ponder. My name is Neil Trotter. I'm the host. The Black Ponder is a YouTube channel where we talk about philosophy. Normally, we read philosophical texts and just discuss the philosophy in those texts. Like Plato, Aristotle, Rene Descartes, Immanuel Kant, like all those Jean-Paul Sartre, and all the those stuffy, snobby, old white men philosophy. No, I'm just playing. We talk about that. Well, we talk about all types of other kinds of philosophies too, ranging from feminism, socialism, all that radical stuff as well. We do that, but then we also just kind of chill and talk about philosophical themes and more of a free form style. And that's what these are, these live streams, more of a free form, just focusing on a topic, not necessarily a text. But, we might bring in text every now and then. You'll have to excuse that. Well, it's not too messy in here from the camera angle. Still working on that shit. Just came back from a little small construction job, so you might see a little sweat here and there. But I'm not one of those YouTubers that kind of put on a lot of makeup and a lot of studio production. I'll just keep it real because I'm lazy. Lazy, and I don't feel like doing that. And it's all good. It's part of the Black Ponder aesthetic. Lo-fi, laid back, don't give a damn about the algorithm. Now, today's topic is there is no friend zone. So let me bring up my description of that. And I will read you the description. There is no friend zone. So, are you familiar with the friend zone? It's funny, I was late learning this definition. So, it's a relationship where one person is romantically interested in another, but the other person doesn't share the romantic interest. But it's not just unrequited love. No. What makes a friend zone is that the one with no romantic interest knows the other has romantic interest, and that knowledge is exploited. The one with no romantic interest constantly dangles the possibility of a romance to reap the benefits of a high-quality friendship, never intending to ever be involved romantically. And so, the friend who wants romance has their emotions toyed with, becoming a cruel victim in the game of love. Or so the notion goes. But, is this a thing that is actually happening? Is the friend with unrequited love really truly the victim here? Or is there a kind of self-victimization happening? Or is the supposed victim actually victimizing the friend who is not interested? Maybe the true victimizer is society itself. Let's discuss. And that was a little description there. I remember I wasn't aware of the term. Everybody, it's funny how sometimes it's often the case that everybody knows what these terms are except me. And I'm like, what does that mean? What, huh? I was coming from a music festival. I was in a carpool. There's a bunch of buddies of mine. We were driving, and these two, they were having a conversation. Two of my friends were having a conversation. A woman and a guy, my guy friend and my lady friend, buddies, and they were just debating about this friend zone thing. And I'm like, what? They kept throwing down the term. I'm like, what is that? Friend zone? What? Huh? Never heard of that. And they're like, you never heard of that? I'm like, no. I'm always late to this stuff. Like, I remember, I didn't even know what the hell Netflix and chill was. I'm like, huh? What is that? You don't know that? No, man, I don't know. It's like all these terms. But, friend zone is like what I described. When, it's two buddies, it's two pals, but one of them actually has like a crush on the other, but the other one doesn't. And so they keep staying friends, right? But there's this kind of like unrequited love thing going on with the one of the friends, but then I guess the whole thing is like eventually the one who doesn't like the other one like that, they kind of figure it out. They're like, oh, okay, this person has a crush on me, but they just keep letting the friendship go. And so is the saying, or so is the concept, just to kind of reap the benefits of the high quality relationship. And one of my friends was saying, yeah, it's kind of messed up. And I was just sitting and listening to that, and I was like, but is that really a thing that's happening? That's what I don't think so. I think that's kind of just like a Twilight, just as fake as the Twilight Zone. The friend zone is just as fictitious, and it's not really a real thing. Although people like to think it is, because they don't know how to like act. They don't know how to like, kind of just, it's a patriarchal thing. That's what I think. Uh oh, sorry, my camera went dead. Oh, there we go. That happens. It's probably just my camera sometimes. Oh, there it goes again. Let me turn off. It might be like overheating. Let me see. But yeah, if you want to like think about what's going on there as I try to figure this camera thing out, let's try that. I want to comment. Feel free to comment. You good, camera? You good? I think I have the oh, there it goes again. Hold on a second. Let me just turn it off. Okay, I'm still here, people. No worries. I'm still here. Okay, I'm gonna turn you off now. Well, feel free to talk and ponder that situation. Okay, what's going on? Are you hot? You're not even that hot. You don't feel too hot. These GoPros. Oh, there it goes. Unfortunately, I might have to switch to my webcam, which is too bad. I'm gonna unplug right quick, but I'm still here. Sorry, we got this technical difficulty. Okay. Enjoy the music while I work this thing out. I'm here, people. I'm here. No worries. We'll definitely keep the discussion going. Just gotta figure out this camera thing. Camera will sometimes over. So yeah, I use GoPro. I should probably. Well, no, I'm not gonna ever invest in it. Was it like the cord was loose? Sometimes it will shut itself off when it's overheating. Because I do have this light, right? I know that the topic is hot right now, but damn, it's not that hot. Okay, so unrequited. Friend zone is not a thing. Yeah, so one of my friends who was in the car with this. With my other friend, and there was a whole conversation. I was just kind of listening, and I asked, like, what is a friend zone? But they told me, and my friend was like, yeah, that's messed up, man. You should, if you think, you shouldn't just be letting, somebody just, the person has feelings about you, and you just don't want to talk about it. You just want to keep it going, and that you just taking advantage of them. And I don't know. I don't think that's what's happening, to be completely honest with you. I mean, I don't think anybody really owes you anything in terms of like, you might disagree with that. You might be kind of cruel. There might be something you may think is cruel to say, but I think, just a person who's a friend or like somebody you just know, like, maybe family can be a little bit like parents. Okay, if you're a parent, I think you do owe your child something. I think that is true. But other than that, man, if you're not like a parent with a child, you don't really owe anybody anything, no matter how they feel about you, right? No matter, even if, and I'll go further and say, even if like there's the person does like really good things for you, like they do all these nice things for you, they still owe you a damn thing, right? You do, people, if we kind of, there's so many things to discuss about this kind of issue, because first of all, there's this thing where people think life is like checks and balances and like the scale, and you scratch my back, I scratch yours type of shit. Which if you're talking about like a contract, or if you're talking about work, if you're talking about like things owed to you, in terms of like finances, okay. But if you're just doing things for kindness, like if it's a job, okay, that's one thing. But if it's like outside of a job or work, right? You don't owe anybody anything. So the first thing I would say to that is, it doesn't matter how nice somebody is to you. It's not like they owe you something back. They just want to. They'll just keep. Yeah. And I guess that because I've said this before for other people, and they think that's kind of, they say like, well, I don't know. I think there's a duty that there's some sort of like this duty that's owed, and I don't know where that comes from. I know that's kind of an old, many old school philosophies kind of have that kind of. Aristotle talks about that. A lot of the old school Greek philosophers, like, well, there's a duty to reciprocate kindness. But I would snap back and say, like, there's no duty. Like the only duty that you've imposed is like you've just made it up in your mind. Right? So why should you do nice things for somebody? Because you just like doing nice things. You like being kind, and you like doing something good for somebody. I don't think you should do something good for somebody necessarily expecting something in return. Now, at the same time, you do have to like have your limits, because if you're expending yourself to a certain point, and it's like, okay, I've given a lot here, and it's wiping me out. And I'm not getting anything back, and that's fair too. That's fair too. If it's like, okay, then I think it's the responsibility of the giver to be like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of stop, I'm gonna hold back, and I think that's totally okay. But it's all the giver. The giver is making that decision that has little to do with the person, the receiver. The receiver can complain and be like, oh, why aren't you giving me things? And the giver can be like, hey, you're not giving me nothing. And the giver has every right to do that. But what the giver doesn't have any right to do is to say, well, you owe me this. That's what they don't owe. If they feel that way, then they should just cut the ties. And I don't like to pass judgment and say like, well, you shouldn't be cutting ties with nobody. Well, that's their decision. They can do what they want. So there you go. That's part of it. So the first thing about it, the first aspect of that is this concept, this idea of you
do something good to somebody, they owe you something. So I think that's a fiction, right? That's kind of just made up in our heads. Like, where does that come from? And I know it comes from like old school philosophies, and it's kind of carried down. And we kind of integrated like work life into like personal leisure time. Personal life gets kind of get integrated. We kind of take the job aspect of our lives. Like, look, I did work for you. You need to pay me some money, right? Which is like that. That's work. I don't think you should transfer that same type of like way of doing things to like personal leisure time, right? So that's one thing. And then the other thing is also you can't not talk about the other aspect of this, which is the more patriarchal aspect. Because honestly, most of the time what's going on with the friend zone is a guy, right? And the guy is liking a girl usually, and then they do all these nice things to the girl, and the girl's not reciprocating, and then it's like, hey, I gave you all these things, you owe me some sort of romance. And it's like, no, they don't owe you jack shit. So there's that part of it too. And you know what it reminds me of? It's funny when you look back at a lot of shows, a lot of old school shows, you look back and you realize, oh, this is really problematic. But you just don't think of it at the time because you're raised a certain way. And I don't have nothing against the show, but it is kind of messed up when you really think about it. I remember, if you're a certain age, like you grew up in the 90s, you remember like that show Family Matters, right? Maybe not. Family Matters is a show. Had that guy Steve Urkel. He was the nerd. He was a nerd. It was like a show, all black cast. It was like one of those shows where it had a black family growing up. Lasted many seasons. I'm explaining this because I'm Generation Y, I'm millennial. A lot of the newer people don't even know the show. Most people like have heard the name Steve Urkel. It's about this nerd. He's a neighbor of this family, the Winslows, and the nerd, he has a crush on the daughter Laura Winslow, and that's like the whole arc of the entire show. Like, it's having his crush on Laura Winslow, but he's a nerd, and he's like this stereotypical nerd. So he's very clumsy, he's very annoying, he like says all these random facts nobody cares about, and he's really clumsy too. In case you've never seen the show, you can't assume, it was a very popular show when I was a little kid, but nowadays, it's not so popular anymore. But anyway, he tries to get with the Laura Winslow, and Laura's like, no, I'm not interested in you. I'm not interested in you. But Steve Urkel, he just says, no, I'm still gonna try. I'm still gonna try to get with Laura Winslow. I'm gonna get with Laura Winslow. And so he keeps trying over and over again, and to the point where he annoys Laura, and that's like kind of the comedy of it. That's the running gag is Steve has a crush on this girl that is like there's no chance of him getting. But he's like really sweet, and his intentions are very pure and kind. But he's like, he's annoying, and he annoys the hell out of Laura. And Laura keeps saying, "Could you go away from me? Leave me alone. Stop being with me." But Steve Urkel's so persistent, right? So the first thing we have to think about when we analyze this storyline, right? It's a very common storyline, not so common anymore, but this idea like persistence. You can't take no for an answer, right? You got to keep at it. When you try to get with a person, you try to be romantically involved with a person, you got to keep trying. You got to keep at it, right? But of course, like nowadays, with the and I don't use it pejoratively. The woke. Now we're woke, and I think that's good, right? That's good. Like Like that's bad. Like when you like ask a girl out on a date, or you ask a person out on a date, and they say no. That's it. It's over. Right? It's over. And so you might say to yourself, well, I really like this girl, and I want to be with her, and I don't want to just give up so fast. I think it's good. Back in the day, if you were to give up really fast, you would be considered, you're a quitter. Oh, you're not really a true man. You got to be chivalrous. That used to be considered chivalrous to like keep trying over and over again. Even to the point where you start annoying the person. It starts becoming harassment at a certain point, right? And you look at that show now, and it's like, oh yeah, he was pretty much harassing her. Pretty much, that's what was going on. But at the time, you're thinking like, oh, that's so cute. He's trying his best, but he just keeps failing. And this was like years and years and years. Like the seasons, it was like 7 to 8 seasons. Eventually, like the final season, I think he marries Laura. Like he finally gets the girl. It took him long years to. So the whole message of the show is just gotta keep trying, even though they're annoying, right? And there would be these times when in the show where Laura would like, okay, Steve, I'll take you to the dance. Yay! And Laura didn't really want to go to the dance. She was just doing it as a nice gesture to say, hey, you know what? I should be nice to this guy. But is that something really that you should be doing? Like if you don't really like somebody like that, like if you're not romantically interested and they keep asking you over and over again and you say no, and then they literally are annoying you, even just because a person has nice intentions doesn't mean that you should give them the time of day. Right? You don't owe them anything, right? So that kind of storyline, that kind of story arc is antiquated, right? It never was actually correct, or it was we look back and you look back at that show back then, and they were trying to it was a show that taught morals back in the day when sitcoms were like more moral based, like some Aesop fable shit. They were trying to, like Full House did that shit with Bob Saget and the Olsen twins. They were like, after every episode you learned a little lesson at the end. Family Matters tried to do that too, and they did that with if somebody has a good heart, and they really like you. It doesn't matter how annoying they are. It doesn't matter if you like them or not. You should get with them anyway. And but a large part of the show. And I actually like this show. Don't get me wrong. I really like this show. But yeah, that's not a thing. Like, if I were to watch it today and I had like a youngin' with me, like a young child with me watching the show, I'm like, yeah, this show's kind of funny, but yeah, that's not cool. You shouldn't be like just annoying the hell out of a girl just because you like them. You should just not. If the girl's saying no, then you should just back off and be like, okay, I asked and you said no, so I'm gonna move on. Right? Move on. I would tell them that, but the show was trying to push this message of like, no, it's actually good to not quit. You need to annoy them more. There was a line in the show where he would say, it was like a recurring line. He was like, "I'm wearing you down." Yeah, that's what he was saying. Like, "I'm wearing you down, Laura." He had that little nasally, like stereotypical nerd voice. "I'm wearing you down, Laura. I'm wearing you down." And then you see what you would say that, and the audience, because it was taped up in front of the live studio, they would clap like, "Yeah!" And it's like you're basically cheering for a person to harass somebody. It was crazy, but that was back in those days. The show has definitely not stood the test. It's still funny. I still watch it with my mom when I visit her, because they show reruns like on network television all the time, and it's a funny show. But that was definitely you should definitely look back at that show and be like, yeah, that's the thing. And so like we've been normalized by these kinds of media, and then we accept accept the concept of friend zone is valid. It's valid, like it's something that's good, right? But it's not. It's not good. You know, what was it? I had another show in my mind, but it slipped my mind. But there was a lot of television shows, particularly sitcoms back in those days, that kind of went off that whole concept of like somebody likes somebody else. Oh yeah, it wasn't a show. Oh man, I forgot. It was a movie. It was one of those Brat Pack movies, those 80s movies. Was it 16 Candles or Pretty in Pink? I gotta Google it. I gotta Google it. Oh, my wife says 16 Candles, and they can see you. Was it? Let me see. No, it was the other one. Let me see. Because one of them has the guy that was in 2.5 Men. Yeah, it's Pretty in Pink. But I think, yeah, it was both of these shows. Both of these shows. Oh, I don't buy it. I remember I was watching this show. This newer shows, you know, it's kind of popular. It was popular. It was called 2.5 Men, and you know, one of the guys was Charlie Sheen. And, you know, that guy. A lot of people know him. But then there was like another guy, like the brother of Charlie Sheen, who was in the show. And I used to watch the show. I was like, I've seen that guy before. Like, where have I seen this guy before? This dude, this the opposite Charlie Sheen. And it was, and I remember, and then I rewatched Pretty in Pink. I was like, oh yeah, it's him. But he's grown up. He's grown now. But anyway, yeah, Pretty in Pink, and a lot of these. Who was that director? John Hughes, I think. John Hughes kind of had this whole thing, which was, it's not like necessarily, yeah, John Hughes. That famous director that did all those 1980s like romantic comedies or romantic shows about teenagers, and he's pretty cool. I like a lot of his movies. Don't get me wrong, his movies I like watching those films, but they got a lot of problems. It's very interesting. Those are some classic movies, and, but they are very problematic. But I guess isn't everything almost. But, yeah, so Pretty in Pink had this. It essentially had the friend zone. It had the friend zone. It's like that, but the movie is basically about the friend zone. It was about this the main character, and she was into this guy who, you know, I think she was trying to get with this. She was trying to get with this guy who was like the cool guy in the school, but he didn't know her very well, and so the whole plot is her trying to get with this guy. But at the same time, you got the friend. It was a friend who was a guy, and the guy, you know, he actually likes her. He likes her. But at the end, but eventually she gets with this other guy, the main love interest, and he doesn't get the girl. But it's funny because at the end he does get another lady. So they give him a reward at the end, a reward, quote. But there's a scene where she finally goes out with her love interest, and that the scene is she goes out with the guy that she likes, and then her friend has this whole, like, you know, he's all sad and he's also upset, and he's just walking the street alone. He's like, oh no, the girl that I love, who's my best friend, is going out with somebody else. And you know, the way they play the music, the way they do that 80s synthesized old school music, you're supposed to like really feel sorry for the guy. You know, the way they do it. You know, he's really like upset. He's like, oh no, this is so bad. And you're supposed to feel sorry for him. Now, one of the conflicts of the show, like one of the you know, because every story has conflict that makes it interesting. And one of the conflicts is she likes this love interest, but she kind of knows, you know, she kind of has this hint that her friend likes her too. So she has to deal with that. And it kind of like holds her back because she's having these conflicting, but she's not interested in the friend at all. Like romantically, she just likes him as a friend. So, but she's all like, oh, but I know he kind of likes me, and I don't want to hurt his feelings, but I really like this other guy, and it is his whole thing, right? It's his whole thing, right? Now, and back in the day, that was a legit thing. That was a legitimate thing. That was a thing that we were like, yeah, you know, that's kind of, you kind of messed up for doing that. You know, you should have like considered his feelings. You know, maybe you should have maybe went out with him a few times first. You know, and it just makes it look bad. You're not ever see that. The reverse genders, like like you don't see movies or media where a guy is like conflicted with a girl that likes him, but he's going like, that's just not a thing, right? There's never like a penalty for a guy who's like trying to go out with the girl, but then this other girl likes him, and you don't see that type of thing. But you see the Pretty in Pink, you see that all the time, because it's because of this idea that the woman owes the man affection. Women owe men affection. That's the idea, right? And it's a patriarchal idea, right? And so like, and she doesn't owe him anything. She can go out with whoever she wants to. Is there a way for me to? I don't have a big picture. I bet I could like share my screen. No. Desktop, video capture, no. Display. Oh yeah, I can do that. Just so I can give you a visual, which is, you know, this is probably not even gonna help, right? I am BD. Can I do this? Let's see. Oh, can I do this? Oh yeah, there we go. This is in, you know, a John Hughes production. The laughter, the lovers, the friends, the fights, the talk, the hurt, the jealousy, the passion, the pressure, the real world. Now that's some advertising right there. Pretty and big. So, like I was saying, like, that's the main character. She likes him. She likes him. Who's just the guy that comes out of nowhere. But he's the friend. They're best friends, but he actually likes her. But she likes her, and she likes him. But he's like devastated. But you know, at the last part, he goes out with some really hot girl, so it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. But what I'm saying is, she don't owe him nothing. She owes him nothing. Yeah, you might think that's cruel for me to say that. Like, just because they're friends, they don't owe each other affection. You're a friend. You're somebody's friend because they make you feel happy. You know, they are kind. You know, you enjoy their company. They're nice to talk to. But a friend doesn't owe somebody anything. A friendship is not based off of like ownership. Right? That's not what friendship is based on. The true friend would be like, oh, I see you like this guy, and then she would be like, okay, if this guy's really good, if he's really good for you, and he makes you happy, then hey, I'm all for it. Even if he's like, I actually really like romantically, but a true friend would be like, I want to see her happy, right? Wouldn't a true friend do that? A true friend wouldn't be like, yeah, but I want to be with her, like. But that doesn't have anything to do with her happiness, right? And then you might start thinking like, well, I can make her more happy than he. What does he see? What does she see in him? I can make her happy, but that's your feelings being pushed onto her. She doesn't feel that way, right? That's what I'm saying. So the friend zone. Let's go back to me. That's me. The friend zone, right? Is based off of this idea. So it's based off of two things that aren't real, and so therefore the friend zone doesn't exist. It's false. The friend zone is based off of this concept of morality as a scale, right? It's just like balance, right? Which isn't. That's not a thing that exists. Like, why do you do good things for people? Not to like chalk up points and then turn the points in and to be like, okay, I got the high score now. Where's my prize? That's not why we do. Because if you do good things because of that, you're gonna be sorely disappointed, right? Oftentimes you do the right thing and bad things will happen to you, right? So that's a false thing right there. Ethics. If you basing ethics off of a scale, that's false. That's false. And then another thing that the friend zone is based off of is this concept of women owe men affection. Right? And it is specifically women owing men affection. It isn't the other way around. It isn't like men owe, because people don't really complain. You don't see men complaining. You don't see women complaining about this issue much. I mean, you might, there's always exceptions to the rule, right? But in general, it's always a guy, as you like that movie I showed. And there's so many other movies where it's the same scenario, and there's a woman who likes somebody, but the friend, the guy likes them, or the Family Matters show. So the question is, does a woman owe a man affection? No. A woman doesn't owe men shit. They don't owe men nothing. But that's reversed too, right? They don't owe women anything. You are affectionate to somebody because you like somebody, not because they owe you something, right? The whole concept of love is not the same thing as ownership. No, it's two completely different things, right? So we look back at the concept of the friend zone. Let's say, for instance, when we were in that car ride, let's go back to the car ride that I was in from the music festival, and I was in a car full of several friends. It's like 7 of us in there, and these 2 friends were talking, and the guy was like, "Man, that's messed up." Of course, it was the guy. I was saying, "Yeah, that's messed up. That's messed up." But the girl who said like, "Yeah, I think I willingly put somebody in the friend zone." Like she knew, she admitted that she knew that this guy that she was putting in the friend zone, she knew that he liked her, but she wanted to just have him as a friend. So she knew what was going on. She wasn't oblivious to it. But she liked being friends with this guy. So is that wrong? Is that wrong? That guy would say, yeah, that's wrong. I personally, I don't think that's wrong. I don't think that's true. I think, so what needs to happen in this case? What needs to, because it might be very difficult for the guy who likes the girl, to be like, I really like you. Well, okay, so you gotta be adult about this. This is my philosophy, like advice, which take this with a grain of salt. Take this with a grain of salt. But you gotta be adult about this, right? You gotta be like, just straight up, be honest. Like, look, I kind of like you. As romantically, I think you're, I think we should. I would very much like it if we weren't just friends, right? Just be honest. Easier said than done, right? Now so you get the courage, you say that, and she says, no, No, I just don't. I don't see you that way. Right? Now, what should you do then? Should you be like, well, I'm just gonna keep trying? Well, you should say you should not do that, right? You should be like, okay. Well, I said my piece, and you should be like, well, I hate your guts because you don't do that. You be like, I respect. That's how you feel. Now, it comes to that situation where, because people will say, "Oh, it's hard. It's really hard to be with somebody. Just being friends with somebody that's hard when you really like somebody." Now, there's this school of thought, because you have these conversations, and there's people who are like, "Well, you're just supposed to just get over it, just deal with it, just push those feelings aside and just be friends with the person." But I don't think that's realistic either, right? It might really just be too difficult, right? And so now it becomes hard. And you just gotta be honest. You gotta be honest. You gotta be like, because I think that's fine. I think if you're like, this is it's really difficult because I really like this person. I can't just be friends. So what do you do then? Right? Do you say, well, I'm gonna kill the friendship? You can do that, but what I would suggest is you should be like, you should think about it. Do some self-reflection, right? Do some self-reflection. Be like, why is it so hard for me to just be friends with this person? Why is that so difficult? Like ask yourself, really, like sit there, just do some self-reflection. Now people don't do that, right? They're just like, oh, she doesn't like me, so that's it, it's over. Like, no. Think about it. Like, take some time and consider, like, why? What is it about me? Or what's going on? It might not even be you. It might I mean, there's something going on with you. But what is it? And that is something that you need to work out, because it could be many things. It could be many things, right? It could be, it could be many. You just have to figure it out for yourself. I think if you spend some time and you're like, and you might need to just just not end the friendship, but put it on pause, or just like, let me take some me time. Sorry, I don't know why I picked this up. Let me take some me time and just figure it out. Because it has a lot more to do with you than it has to do with the person who's putting you in the friend zone, quote unquote. Right? It's got more to do with you. And what is making it so hard for you not to just be friends with this person? That could be valid, It's not. It might not be the case, because some people be like, well, that's usually, if you can't be friends, if that's something that's really hard for you, then shame on you. Shame on you. But you should, you should grow up, or you should no, it's not. Sometimes you gotta work things out in your head, but you gotta do your self work. And it comes to a point where it's like you do have to develop some sort of confidence or some sort of peace or some contentment within yourself, and be like, because it is kind of easy, it's some sort of lack of self-confidence or self-contentment or some sort of inner turmoil that's going on inside of you, that's preventing you from just being friends. And you gotta find it out. You gotta find what that is. I hesitate to give examples because it could be so many things. It could be so many things, It could be like you are afraid of being alone. It could be you weren't really friends with the person to begin with. You just was with them just because you like, or like you may think you like the person like that, but the reality is you really don't. Or it could be so many things. Or maybe you like somebody else and you're pushing that romantic feeling onto your friends for some weird, for some strange reason. I've seen that before. I've seen that before, where it's like this. I've had friends who pursued somebody, and then it turned out like, oh, I don't even like this person. Like, I'm just doing this for some other reason. It can be so many things. Right. But the friend zone is not something that is inflicted onto you. It's something that you put onto yourself. And if you're putting it onto yourself, then you can get out of it. You can get out of it. But it's all you. It's all you. The friend zone doesn't exist. It's not real. And it has people who are like, well, women, they put these men in the friend, and that's horrible that they do. No, it's, again, so to go back to that example, which was a real example. The girl was like, yeah, I know that he likes me, but we're just in the friends. Uh-oh, hey friend, your audio isn't synced to your video, and also the music is very loud. Can't hear you. Oh no, so sorry. I'll turn that down. I will let you, and then didn't I do something? Oh, I didn't. I think I have -800, right? I forgot what I used to do. Cancel. But yeah, thanks for telling me. I can't go. Is it? That's weird that I can't. Close. Sorry, I'm taking so. Oh, there it is. I thought. Wait a minute. No. Yeah, that's good. No, it should be. Mike. So my audio is still not in sync. It should be in sync. Oh. But yeah, let me know if it is still not in sync. I thought it would be. Anyway. With the friend who is, oh yeah, so the friend saying like, the friend who's a girl, I gotta say the genders, because the genders are what's important about this. Because we live in a patriarchal society. It's too bad, because it should be important, but it is, right? So that in the car ride, the friend who is like, yeah, I know I'm putting my friend in the friend zone. I know he likes me, but I like his friendship. Is she doing something wrong? I don't think so. I think like she's made her position clear. Like, I know you like me, but I want to be friends. What more can you do at that point? Do you then say like, well, okay, I'll go out with you? Like, that's not good. That's not good, because now she's betraying her feelings. Oh, hello, Jeremy. How's it going? So I don't think she's doing anything wrong. I think the guy needs to be like, hey, this girl doesn't like me like that, so I need to just be okay with just being friends with this person. Or if I'm not okay with it, then I just need to like take a step back, and I need to work it out. I need to work it out within myself, right? So that's the thing. That's the thing. Okay. Now, did I miss any other descriptions? I'm just looking at my bullet points here. But is it a thing that is just is a friend with a good love really, or is the victimizing? Let's discuss. The true victimizer is society itself. Okay, yeah, we talked about that. And then Jeremy says, I think men need to learn to build friendship over romance. Yeah, sure. I mean, I suppose, but I think men already know how to make friends, right? Oh, you're saying because a lot of men have friends with other men, so. But you're saying like you should be friends before you have a romance, or sorry. You're saying you should learn how to be friends before you become romantic? Yeah, so you think? I think it's totally fine to not be friends at first, be romantic at first, and then be friends later. I think that's fine. I just think you don't need however you come into a relationship. You should. I think it's important to understand the other person doesn't owe you jack shit. The only thing I can think about is like parents. I think parents do owe their children just for bringing them. Just because a parent brought them into this world, already you fucked up there. You already did some bad thing already there. That's fine. That can be debated. That's a valid. You could say I'm wrong about that, but hey, you already messed up by bringing somebody into this horrible world. So you owe at least help them out. Help them out. I think hookup culture is destroying romance. I don't think so. But that's valid. I agree with you, Jeremy. Hookup culture is definitely detrimental to romanticism. I'm saying being friends with women and stop seeing as romantic conquest. Yeah, no, that's... Yeah. And well, I mean, the key word there is conquest. Stop seeing a woman as a conquest, right? Which is a patriarchal thing, where everything is a conquest. Yeah, I don't think maybe that's just me, but if you see women as romantic, that's fine. But yeah, you should be capable of being friends with the opposite sex. And just friends. You should have that capability, right? But I don't think hookup culture is destroying romance, because I think romance was already destroyed before hookup culture was a thing. Because if you look in the past and you see this whole like I think the rose-colored glasses are really on thick, right? We romanticism is very problematic too, right? Because again, the romance is some sort of conquest, isn't it? Right? Like some sort of like, I'm going to woo this woman into loving me, and it doesn't matter what it's going to take. I'm going to like do everything within my power to earn this woman's love. I'm gonna give them all these roses and shit. Which is fine, it's nice to, give people that you like gifts, absolutely, right? But, yeah, I don't know. I think that sort of Romeo and Juliet style romance is, I mean, they did kill themselves at the end, right? I think we should really seriously think about, you know, it's kind of like you look back at the 1950s and it's like, oh, those when, you look at shows like Leave It to Beaver and the Andy Griffith Show. It's like, yo, those are real families. And it's like, were people really that happy back then? So, I would argue like they were just as problematic as they are today. Hookup, this not, hookup culture. There's some good things about hookup culture. I don't know. Like when you talk about like Tinder and all that shit. I mean, a lot of that can be superficial, for sure, and hollow. But I know people who have met on Tinder and now they've been married for like 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know. And then you're saying, the way I see it, the friend zone is an idea that restricts how men and women relate to one another. The friend zone creates unhealthy attachment. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I think so. I think the friend zone restricts how men and women can relate. Yep, this sure does. And it is an unhealthy attachment. Yep. Do you think hookup culture has some sort of depth? No. But something doesn't have to have depth to have value. There's lots of shallow things that are valuable. I used to be in the hookup culture when I was young. Back in the day. But yeah, at a certain point. Well, no, I was gonna say at a certain point you should get out of that. But no, like you can do that if you're happy, you're happy. I had a good old time back in the day. That was back in when I was young and I was like, yeah, I'm never getting married. Like, why the hell would anybody get married? That's so stupid. Right? I used to have this type of attitude, not even like married. Like, I was one of those guys. I was like, I'm never getting into a serious relationship. Why the hell would anybody get into a serious relationship? That just doesn't make any sense. I used to think like this, and I had a lot of what they call friends with benefits. But this is like college days and like mid-20s, with a lot of people live like that. And I had a good time. Eventually, though, there was a point where I was like, yeah, you reach a limit. It is true, like you do, like you're saying, you do reach like a limit. Hello. They can see you. Yeah. That's my wife now. So now we're together. And yeah, she's really gonna be upset why I've told her all this before. But yeah, now I see the value in a long-term serious relationship, right? Because you just like you learn more about yourself, and your partner helps you grow as a better person, and you grow together, emotionally, I would argue spiritually as well. I don't mean to delve into your life, but did you have drama and turmoil involving the hookups? Nope. I didn't have any of that. That's why it was so great. It was just like I had a lot of like I never experienced a friend zone. That just wasn't a thing that I ever experienced. I was like, when I liked somebody and they showed like no interest in me, I was like, next. That was very easy for me to be like, time to move on. There's too many other people. That's why it was so cool, because it was like no drama. If there was like a hint of drama, I was out. I was like, goodbye, see ya. But that's very you don't grow as a person when you do that. You kind of just like there is no depth really. But I think at the time I was kind of more focused on. I had a lot of career ambitions. I was trying to start my own business, and that was kind of my focus. And then eventually that didn't happen. I do have my own business. It just isn't profitable. It's just we keep. It just keeps like it doesn't earn money. But we don't go bankrupt. So, but yeah, I had no drama. And then say hello to your wife for me. Yep, I will definitely do that if she comes back. Yeah, I had no turmoil or. It was a good time, but I'll never go back to that again because I'm more interested in developing as a human being, and that really does help. Having a life partner, a serious committed relationship, really does help you evolve as a person and learn yourself better. Right? And then it's cool to help your partner out and achieve their dreams and their goals and their passions. That's cool to do, as opposed to when I was just like hooking up randomly with people. Like I had, you can't really help somebody because you're just ping ponging all. You don't have time to do that. I think that's what's problematic. So many people keep pursuing and obsessing over somebody, then realizing there are many people. So I think that's what's problematic. So many people keep pursuing and obsessing over somebody. Yeah, there's a lot of people, man. You might say, but I don't know people's situations because you'd be surprised, man. Some people are like, man, I'm so ugly. Nobody's gonna like you. You will be surprised because you do see people who are like traditionally unattractive hook up with people. You're like, and then that's always like, how does that happen? Because there's all people. Attraction is like a spectrum, and people are into many different things. What you might think is ugly, somebody else might think is very pretty. Yeah. And you can always, what they call it, glow up. I think nowadays they call it the glow up. That's like a Zoomer thing. I think now. I'm gonna glow up. I think the generation before me, Generation X, they're like, we gotta get the black culture. Get my groove on, get my groove back. How Stella got her groove back. That's the old school used to call it that. What did we call it? I don't know. But maybe you can hit the gym. Pick yourself up. There's so many things you could do. Because some people will be like, I've known some of my friends like, oh, nobody's never gonna like me, and then they do some self-care. Like they either go to the gym, and then all of a sudden people start liking them, or like some people just go to college, and then they get like more intelligent and wise, and then all of a sudden people start liking them. Or they kind of change their attitude. Right? They change their attitude, and all of a sudden, the thing about obsessing with somebody is you think like, oh, there's nobody else that can be. But it's funny how that's so not the case. If you kind of open yourself up, and also focus on improving yourself, right? And you could improve yourself in so many different ways, right? A lot of people will say, well, I can't hit the gym, I'm not healthy enough. You don't have to do that. I mean, you could just you can learn a musical instrument, for instance. I know so many people who learn a musical instrument, and then all of a sudden, like, everybody starts liking them. Because that's, or whatever. It could be so many different things that somebody will do, yeah. And then, so what I was gonna say before the bullet points was maybe the true victimizer is society itself. I put, and I think so. Who's the victim of the friend zone? It's all of us. And who's the one that's victimizing us? Who's ultimately the creator of the friend zone? Society. And society, because of these two concepts, this ethics as duty and as checks and balances and scales, and the concept of women owing men affection, right? And we've been ingrained in that, and society pushes that onto us, like television shows like Family Matters, and movies like Pretty in Pink and 16 Candles, right? And we just got to get out of that. We got to grow out of that. Be like, I don't accept it. I don't. And then Jeremy says, what lessons did you learn from hooking up? I didn't learn. Did I learn anything from that? The only thing I learned more about myself is a lot of, I guess this is, I could say it's not that bad. What would happen sometimes when I hooked up in my early days, the woman would be like, hey, I think I want to have kids. And I was like, no, I'm not, that's something I never desired, to have children. I just never got that bug. Yeah, but now I have a daughter. She's adopted though. I adopted her when she was a teenager. So skipped all that baby stuff. I have no interest in having biological children, but a lot of people do, men and women, right? It's and I've been hooked up with somebody, and they're like, hey, I think you would be a great father. I'm like, yeah, no, sorry. I apologize, but I'm not that one for you. And so I learned things about myself like that. I learned that I don't want to be that traditional American life with the 2.5 kids and the picket fence and the dog and the cat and the goldfish and all that, and the corporate job. A lot of that I do have. But I don't want to have that traditional lifestyle, that Leave It to Beaver lifestyle. I learned that about myself, where a lot of people still kind of want that. Have you heard of incel? Oh yeah, I know about the incel. Get in the zone, auto zone. The city, I think that's still their headquarters. I live in the city of Memphis, Tennessee. I think their headquarters is, AutoZone's headquarters is in Memphis, Tennessee. Let me Google that. They might have moved. Get in the zone, AutoZone. But yeah, I know incels. That the friend zone, yeah, it's in Memphis. Is that funny? That's funny, huh? But yeah, incels use the friend zone as an excuse a lot for their behavior, right? The camera's a little crooked, I see. Oh, that's probably why the music got reset. Got loud. Yeah, the music probably got loud because my camera turned off and reset everything. That's probably what happened. It's good that you realize who you are. So many people will pretend, and that's detrimental in relationships. Yeah. Like, some people really don't want to have kids, but then they have kids, and then not only are you fucked because you didn't want to have, but then your children are fucked, who are innocent victims because they didn't ask to be in this situation. But you're like this parent now, and you didn't even want to be, but all this societal pressure puts you, people fall into that. So, it's sad. But yeah, the incel will we'll say, the whole idea of the incel is incels are owed affection and sex by women just by the virtue of them being a man, which is a pretty perverted and just very disturbing and really, really sick kind of way of thinking. But not outside the purview of our societal thinking, right? Yeah, it's just pretty sick, and I think the friend zone is kind of goes along the lines of that, which is sad. What's the incel community in Memphis? I don't know. I don't hang out with that community. I'm sure they're around. You know, I mean, a lot of that incel community is just on the internet, right? They don't really go out much, right? So I'm sure they're hunkered down in the dark web or some shit, right? I don't know. I don't see them. Yeah, we are okay. So if anybody is, if there's anybody else wants to ask or say, please feel free. But we will be ending the stream now because an hour has passed. Let me just check to see if I missed anything. And I think I probably apologies for probably more than halfway through the stream the music was too loud. But yeah, feel free to if the music is too loud, just just shout out in the chat, no problem. But you don't have to. No obligations. You can just chill if you hear me. But if you if there's any errors, please don't feel bad to say them in the chat. But don't feel obligated to do it as well. It's all up to you. It's your show. It's my show. It's your show. Nobody owes anybody anything. That's the message that we want to say today. But yeah, so tune in next time on the Black Ponder. Thanks for tuning in. It was a blast. And yeah, we'll definitely do another live stream. And hopefully we'll do another video about another philosophical text. The next test, just as a teaser, I printed it out. Is Oscar Wilde, The Soul of Man Under Socialism. That's the next video I'm going to do. And it is about, Oscar Wilde's the guy that wrote The Picture of Dorian Gray. But he was into socialism. He was an anarchist. And he is into abolition, too. Crazy, no? Who knew? But there's some cool things in that essay. So we're going to make that video. And I'm also reading this book. I don't know if I'll have philosophy in this book, but I'm reading this for a book club. It's a fiction. A Psalm for the Wild Built. It's about a monk. A tea monk is like it's super far in the future. And it's like a dystopian utopia or something. It's like the world. Yeah, it's kind of like it's the end of the world, but the world's okay or something like that. And a monk meets a robot, and philosophy happens. So we'll see if there's some philosophy there. Oh, can you talk about cultural appropriation? I'll put that on my list of things to talk about. Sure. Let me see here. Philosophy topics. I can erase friend zone. Oops. And put cultural appropriation. And put a star next to it, because that would be a requested one. Cool. Okay, until next time, I'll see ya. Bye-bye.